Good morning, 5th grade. We're ready for language lesson 169. This is our last language lesson of the year. Today we have review and study, and tomorrow is your test. So let's get started in our last lesson, in our last class, and see what we can get into our heads even better for our test and just for life. So first of all, we're going to start with going over the 5 parts of a letter. We've talked about this many times before, and let's just go over the ones that I have here on the board. So we have a heading, greeting, body, closing, and signature. Let's say them together. Heading, greeting, body, closing, signature. One more time. Heading, greeting, body, closing, signature. We're also going to go over our punctuation and capitalization rules. I want you to turn to page 312 in your language book. Turn to page 312. 312 and 313 have your punctuation and capitalization rules. Now, sometimes it gets really kind of boring or just kind of, it takes a little bit to get through all of our rules, and especially when it's hard to talk back and forth about them, it's a lot if I just read them all to you. So, you should be on page 312, and we're just going to try to mix this up a little bit by taking turns reading. Okay, this isn't very possible, but we're going to do it anyway. And it might work and it might not work the greatest, but I'm going to read the first rule, and then you're going to read the second rule. I'm going to read the third rule. You're going to read the fourth rule. Okay? I'm not going to know when you're finished reading, but I'm just going to do the best I can and try to give you enough time. So on page 312, starting with the punctuation rules, we have our comma rules. And we're just going to go down over all of the comma, apostrophes, colons, hyphens, semicolon, and the next page, underlining, quotation marks, and then capitalization rules. And we're just going to keep taking turns the whole way down through the list. You're working so much with punctuation and capitalization in your lesson today, and I think it's good for you to review these rules and just get them in your head more and go over them. But like I said, if I would just read them all, it takes a little bit, and it would just be, it just gets kind of long if I read the whole thing myself. So I read a rule, you read a rule, I read a rule, you read a rule. Okay? Let's try this. We'll do our best. So the first comma rule, rule 1. Use commas to separate 3 or more items written in a series. The items may be words or groups of words. Okay, go ahead. Rule 3. Use a comma before the conjunctions and, but, or, nor, for, and yet when they join parts of a compound sentence. Go ahead. Rule 5. Use a comma after the salutation of a friendly letter and after the closing of any letter. Rule 7. Use commas to set off words of direct address. Okay, now we're getting to our apostrophe rules. Go ahead and read the first rule there. Rule 2. A possessive noun, okay. Hopefully you read the first number 1 paragraph there. I'm going to read number 2 paragraph. A possessive noun is a noun that shows possession or ownership. It always contains an apostrophe. Okay, go ahead with rule 1. Rule 2. Use an apostrophe to form the plurals of letters. Colons. Rule 1. Use a colon between the hour and the minute when you write the time. Go ahead. Rule 3. Use a colon between the chapter and verse when you write a scripture reference. Go ahead with the hyphen rule. Okay, semicolon rule. Use a semicolon to separate the parts of a compound sentence if they are not joined by and, but, or, nor, for, or yet. Go ahead with the first underlining rule. Rule 2, underline the names of ships, trains, and planes. Quotation marks. Rule 1, use quotation marks before and after a direct quotation. A direct quotation is a person's exact words. Go ahead with rule 2. Okay, capitalization rules. Rule 1, capitalize the first word of every sentence. Rule 3, capitalize the word I. Go ahead with rule 4. Rule 5, capitalize proper adjectives. Rule 7, capitalize nouns referring to the Bible and nouns and pronouns referring to God. Okay, I don't know how that worked for you, but at least we went over our rules. So actually one more thing I wanted to go over here yet on the board. So talking about capitalization and punctuation, just a quick review on how to punctuate a date and how to punctuate an address. So today's date is, goodness, what is today's date? I don't want to guess, I'm afraid I'm going to be wrong. The 10th or something? I guess I can check here real quick. Not the 10th. It's the 8th. Okay, so we have Friday, May 8th. For you when you're doing this, it will be Monday, May 11th. So Friday, May 8th, 2020. When you punctuate the date, you need a comma after the day, and you need a comma after the number of the date. Okay? Now, when you have an address that you're writing, I'm just going to make up an address, 2880 Jefferson Avenue, Partridge, Kansas, 13029. Okay, you need to have a comma between the city and the state, or the town and the state. Remember that. Okay, work your lesson carefully. Your lesson today is to do page 300, 301, 302, and 303. It's a long lesson. It's a review lesson, so hopefully you can do a good job with it. It doesn't take too extremely long. And study for your test. Study this chapter for your test. Study anything that you struggle with a little bit more. Just go over it a little bit extra. Try to study at least 10 minutes for the test, and just make sure you are as ready as you can be. And that is our final test for the year. This is our final language class for the year. Thank you for listening. Thank you for putting yourself into it. So work very carefully, and I will talk to you later.